And this has been a long-ass year.
He like that bang, bang, bang. He like that bum, bum, bum. He like that love, love, love. I'm like that jump, jump, jump.
Hey everyone, it's Chris here to talk about some of my favorite books of 2017. And this has been a long year. I read about 102 books as of a minute ago. And yeah, I was going over the books that I read this year, and I was like, oh my god, that was this year? Like, that was this year? Was that really this year? So I'm not really going into a lot of detail on some of these. I'm just going to kind of go over them. I'm not even sure how many I'm going to be talking about. And it's also going to include comics. It's going to include romance. It's going to include nonfiction. It's going to include fiction. I'm just going to go through the list. Let's just do this. I just want to just get it done. Let's just get it done. I'm also probably going to do an end of the year tag that will go up, like, in the next year, but you know me, I'm a mess, so that makes sense. But yeah, we're just going to go over some of these. I'm really excited about it, because I don't even remember some of these probably that much, but they're still books that I love, so let's just get into it, okay? Alright, A Work in Progress by Connor Frander is the first book that I started this year, the first book that I finished this year, and I absolutely loved it, but I love Notes to Self even more. Notes to Self was such a fantastic memoir. The poetry was brilliant. The language was brilliant. He talks about depression. He talks about breakups. He talks about things that happened in his life that were just really relatable, and I just needed it at that time that I read it, and it was beautiful and amazing. Go Connor Frander. Sun is also a star really surprised me. I don't read a lot of contemporary with straight relationships at the focus, but this book was just so beautifully written. I love the connections between the characters and the people that they met along the way on their journey over the course of this day. You get to see little glimpses of other people's lives, and it was freaking brilliantly done. Such a great writer. I really need to read something else by this author because it's just was such a brilliant story. I actually think I own this one. Do I own this one? Yes, this is a book I actually own. I'm not going to go get it. But it is a story that I own. And I got it in like a giveaway or something like that. And I love it. Such a good book. Really glad that I have it on my shelf. So speaking of which, a lot of these books are books that I read from the library, and therefore I don't have them. So I'm just not going to be showing books for books that I do have. Yeah, like over 90% of these books are going to be things I read from the library. So, yeah, we're getting back to it now. I Hunt Killers with Barry Leigh. I didn't know I read this year. I felt like I read this book last year. But it was this early this year, pick up from the library on the whim, and it was brilliant. Another story that isn't queer that I absolutely loved. It's like thrillery mystery. It's about a boy who is the son of a serial killer. His dad's been in jail for years, and now there's a copycat in town who's killing people in the same fashion that his dad did. But not really well. not as well. And he is on the hunt to figure out who it is, and also to clear his name from being a suspect. And I loved it, and I need to read the next two books in that trilogy because, oh my god, it's great. Dreadnought by April Daniels. I read that book this year. What? Who knew? Dreadnought by April Daniels is about a trans superhero. This trans girl gets superpowers, and it turns her body into the body that she's always wanted. And this story is really fantastic, but it is a little bit darker than some other stories that I've read in the same genre, in the queer superhero genre. There's a lot more darker themes. There's a lot of transphobia the character faces from other superheroes, but then also from her family, and also some abuse, I would say, that she suffers from her family, even if it's just emotional, really, that we see on the page. And so it's a little darker, but it's so good and so well done. I feel like April Daniels has just done a fantastic job with the story. I haven't continued to the second book yet because I started it, and I feel like it got even darker, and I just need to be in the right mindset to read it. But I am going to be reading the sequel to Dreadnought because it's so good. The Hate You Give. Okay, so I didn't review Hate You Give in like a video because I just don't know how to explain how brilliant and wonderful it is. But also people have been talking about it on here. But I did say in my little wrap-up about it that it's just something that I felt like was relatable. A lot of things with Star and her family were relatable, and I loved it. And that it was such an important story. I felt like it was such an important story for me and for a lot of people, and I think it's something that a lot of people should read. And it was something I did give 5 stars to because I just thought it was brilliant. And I'm excited to see what happens with the film for this. I'm a little hesitant about it, but I'm also excited to see what happens with the film for it because I will be wanting to see it for sure. But yeah. Supernormal Step. Supernormal Step is one of the asexual webcomics that I read this year, and it is my favorite webcomic that I read this year. It is a series that I blazed through, and then I stopped before the last volume because of book 1, because I didn't know when book 2 was going to get out. I didn't want to put myself through those emotions, and I finally did it, and I am now caught up to the series and waiting on this week-to-week basis as book 2 is coming out, and it's struggle, man. It's a struggle. Supernormal Stuff is about a girl named Fiona who is ace. She's an asexual, aromantic main character who is freaking badass. She gets pulled into this parallel world where there's magic, and she has to learn how to use this magic and survive in this world while trying to find her way back. And Fiona. I love Fiona so much. It's so nice seeing this badass spectrum character on the page, and I felt like there were some things in the early volumes that like I was kind of worried about with the way that her character was being portrayed, but then it really kind of rectified itself later on. And I haven't reviewed this on the channel yet at all. I don't like at all, and I will. And it's still ongoing. I'm gonna just do like one big review video, or maybe I'll split it into 4 parts for each volume. And in the next year, where I just talk about this webcomic because I love it so much. And the magic system, and it's beautiful. It's just beautiful. I love it, and I need more of it. And I'm probably going to read some of those other asexual webcomics that I had on my list, which are also fantasy themed, that I'm really excited for, and some sci-fi ones. But like, it's gonna be hard to live up to this story right now. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. For any comic, to be honest. Speaking of comics, though, I did love Miss Marvel this year, and I didn't realize I read a lot of Miss Marvel this year. I don't know what my favorite volume of Miss Marvel was for this year, though. I think the Civil War 2 issue was handled really well. The most recent issue I was kind of mad about, but it also is a queer character now, and Miss Marvel, which I absolutely love. So I'm really about that. I love this character's arc throughout the series. I feel like this character was in the first volume of Miss Marvel, and we've seen them a little bit over the last few volumes, and now I'm like, what? They're gay? This is awesome. This is awesome. I'm like, I love seeing this character come through this realization. It was great, and I loved it. Dance Close by Annabeth Albert is probably my favorite MM romance of the year. I love Annabeth Albert's writing, and I really love the Gamer series, but this series, the Portland Heat series, I'm really starting to love this series as well. This story had a character who is gender fluid as one of the love interests, which is not something I see very often or ever in MM romance, and I feel like Annabeth Albert did a fantastic job with it. Also, the romance was just really well done. Great build-up. I like the tension that was there, the reasons why things kind of took a little bit longer made sense to me. These characters were dealing with different things from their past, dealing with different things for perceptions that they've had and issues they've had in past relationships, and it worked well, and it was just well done, and Albert's writing is fantastic. The Runaways Complete Collection. I read a lot of volumes of that, and I love it. The Runaways are fantastic. They're really cool. I like them a lot. Probably one of my favorite superhero teams, because they're not really superheroes. They're kind of just these kids trying to survive, and sometimes they save people, and I like that. I don't know. I love it. And also, I like the show. The show is hella different. They need to freaking run away already, but the show is also hella intense, and I got my boyfriend to watch it with me, which is really fun. So I love that there's a show. I love that there's going to be another run of the Runaways that's going to be written by Rainbow Rowell. I'm just very excited for the future with the Runaways right now. Just saying. Just saying. History is All You Left Me by Adam Severa. Heartbreakingly beautiful, well-written. I love the parallel of the past with the relationships in the future, and just the way that this was written was fantastic. I love Adam Severa. And if you don't know what it's about a guy whose ex-boyfriend died recently, and it's chronicling their past of their relationship, and the present where he is, and where he's going forward, and him dealing with that grief. And I feel like this was such an interesting exploration of the way people deal with grief, and I loved it. The Stall. I'm putting this in here. This was the most surprising thing that I read this year, probably, because it was just this free MM erotica that I was just like, oh, this is steamy, something's happening, and then I'm like, what's this weird build-up that I'm feeling? And then it was just like this turn in the story, in this 13-page story, there's a turn that had me shaken to my core. I was like, oh my god. It was just like, that just happened. I don't know how to feel. I don't know how I feel about how I felt a minute ago. I don't know how to feel, and I loved it. Next, Goldie Vance. Goldie Vance is a biracial, queer protagonist in a middle grade graphic novel where she is a freaking detective and she kicks ass. I love her so much. And I would not know about the series if it wasn't for RC over the neck of the book log. And I loved RC for that because it's such a good graphic novel and I need more of it in my life. Call Me By Your Name. I have a full review of Call Me By Your Name. I have a full review of a lot of things that I said, and if I have reviews of things that I've mentioned, it's going to be in the description box down below. Probably not right away, probably later, but it's going to be in the description box down below. So, Call Me By Your Name is amazing. I love it. I still need to see the film, and if I don't get to go see the film, so I'm going to crave. I really want to go see it. But it just was such a beautifully written story, in my opinion. It was so long drawn out, but it was so beautiful, and it felt so real. And it's like, you've ever felt like, as a gay guy, connecting to this character's like his set of first infatuation, this first love, this first everything that he's going through here. These emotions were so real, and the way they were written, so you could connect to them in this way, which is so brilliant and beautiful. And I'm just so ready. I don't know. I had a lot of emotions when I filmed my review of this, and I'm not going to be able to get into those again right now. Like, I don't want to get into those again right now. But if you should really just go and watch my review of it. It's pretty spoiler-free. And I'm also going to be talking about this again after I watch the film. I'm definitely going to do a film review of this. That's not escaping this channel. I'm doing a film review after I watch the film. So it's going to be coming up again. It is my favorite book of the year if I had to pick one. I loved it. And yeah, so that was the end of the list of books, I guess, because this Call Me By Your Name is my favorite. So yeah, if you want to check out some reviews for any of those, like I said, it will be in the description box down below, so you can go and check that out. Also, yeah, tell me what some of your favorite books of the year were of 2017. I'd love to hear. If you have a video where you talk about your favorites, just link it down below. I missed a lot of people's videos. I didn't really start watching videos this week until my day off on Saturday. And so I feel like I missed a lot of people's end of the year videos. So if you have one, let me know in the comments, and I'll just go check it out and I'll comment on your video. But yeah, love you all. I will see you all in the next year. Bye.